you can actually be held in for very many years, close to 14 years. Now let me come to the angle of Christianity. The angle of Christianity, you do realize that we have been given something that is very good, and that is love. The Bible, the central theme in the Bible is about love. And the way we are created as human beings, we have the desire to love and also to be loved. True. And you find that when somebody loves you, or you are deeply in love with somebody, then there is that feeling, that natural feeling that comes. The body reacts to that, especially if you are of opposite sex. But quite unfortunate that right now when you talk about pornography, we even talk about people of the same sex having the same thing. So coming back to your question on depression, let me say this, that people get deceived, that the moment you expose yourself into this explicit content, into this pornographic content, you want to watch people having sex in a very unique way, then there are two things that will have to basically affect your life, because you'll want to experiment, you'll want also to feel the gratification, but then in the process you look for somebody you love, or you get somebody who loves you back, but then you're getting into this because what you want is just a few moments of fulfillment or pleasure. So then you get that either party will get depressed because the other person, the moment you get into it, yes, you will have sex because you are trying to exploit, but then the other party will be investing emotions. So the moment you get what you want, you move on, but then the other party is left hanging there. They still feel that they had invested emotions and stuff like that. So you see, after some basically duration of time, you get one party still start having some kind of depression because of that kind of relationship. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that yes, it is true that pornography can lead to depression, especially in youths, because they get into it not knowing what they want. True. But the pundits have always said that pornography does not bring this kind of thing. But you see, now they are not speaking from the reality point of it. You'll get somebody who is a very young person in early teens, or in mid-teens, or in the late teens, but this person is having a lot of stress, is almost bordering depression, because this person has gone through a series of challenging kind of relationship. You're watching pornographic sites, you want to experiment, you go to experiment, you invest emotions, and then you get disappointed. And then the circle continues like that.
True.
Yes.
So, do you think, you have talked about Christianity here. Let's just look about that first before we go ahead. Do you think that Christians are doing something towards this thing? Or do you think that Christians are so reluctant about this thing?
And again, I said when we were beginning, allow me to reiterate that you people are doing an amazing job, because this conversation is nowhere. It is not in the church. The conversation is not in the society. Parents at home are not discussing this with their kids. So what does it tell us? It tells us that the society has neglected this conversation. They don't want to understand the youth in the church, and not even the youth. You even get other people who are just old enough in the church addicted to pornography. By the way, pornographic, kind of scenarios, somehow they are very addictive. The moment you start, you'll always want to continue watching it. And remember, these porn stars, they are acting a movie. It is not something that is real. God did not design love to be like that. Love is not all about sex. Love is not all about the action. Love has a lot to do with it. It begins with emotion. It begins with feeling each other. It begins with having, shared visions. Having joint, you really, you want to move forward together. But then pornography brings another twist to it. that is all about gratification, it's all about pleasure.
Yeah.
Once you have done sex in all the funny styles that you've seen in the pornographic site, that is the end of it. So what I want to say is that church has terribly let our society down.
True.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Church is not talking about this. And how I wish that church will start talking about it, so that we can be able to help our society.
True.
At least the government is doing something. There is the bill that has been proposed, that is, I think, misuse of computer and cybercrime bill 2021, that tend to regulate the production and the circulation of pornographic materials.
And do you think government will do it? The government of Kenya will they finally find a solution for this issue?
I want to say that when you talk about it in terms of enacting a law,
Yeah.
then I know it will be done. But then the challenge is that implementation.
Yeah.
What we've been discussing as lawyers is that you realize that we have very good pieces of legislations.
Yeah.
We have very good laws in this country.
True.
But then you get that when you get to those who are supposed to implement these laws, they are either reluctant, or corruption has permeated our society to an extent that even the police is not doing their job.
Yeah.
Now, the second thing is that you realize that circulation of pornography
Yeah.
is done electronically.
True.
So basically, it means that the government also need to regulate the computers and the phones that you are using, so that they know Willow is accessing which pornographic site at which particular moment in time. So again, that is another challenge.
Another challenge.
Yes. So yes, we'll be having the laws, but then implementation of these laws will be a little bit slow. Allow me say that pornography debate can be done well at home. And Proverbs chapter 22 verses 6,
Yeah.
for those who believe, states that train up a child in the way he's supposed to go, and when he becomes of age, he will not depart from it. What do I mean by this? That where do we get the training of children? It begins at home. We are expecting that parents are supposed to train their children. And then there is another institution that is very integral in matters of training children and everybody in the society about faith, and that is the church. So when we get this conversation beginning from home, then you come to church, you don't neglect the conversation, you continue with it.
Yeah.
Then when you come to the society, these children, as they continue to grow, will be able to filter. When they get bombarded with very many issues in the internet, when they access this site, at least they'll be thinking about the training that they were given. And they will be appreciating that this is not the way you were told to go, because this is not good for us. But when this conversation is not taking place anywhere, then you can be rest assured that when you get the freedom, when children get the freedom to access the phones, they access the pornographic site, then they will know that the way of life is watching pornographic sites, basically trying to explore their sexuality by basically trying to do all manner of things with their body, not minding their consequences. Another thing that I also want to talk about is, I don't know whether we are going to discuss it, but you realize that even in the industry that we have, pornographic basically content has been portrayed as the way of life. You are only civilized when you are doing crazy stuff. You are only civilized when you know about all these matters of very funny, way of exploiting your sexuality. So that is what we have.
Yeah.
But I want to emphasize that conversation should begin at home, goes to the church, and then allow when people come outside here to filter what is good and bad for them.